What's up, Internet? It's Brando at UpsideDownOwl.com, and in this video I'll show you some of my techniques with my latest vector illustration. This illustration is entitled Aye Aye Captain, and it was just an idea I had for a skateboard deck. My first intention was to do a traditional flying eyeball, but then an eyeball dressed as George Washington crossing the Delaware popped in my head, and then it just kind of morphed into a pirate theme. I did all my sketching in Sketchbook Pro and then my vector build in CorelDRAW. So I'll show you my sketches first, and then we'll move into the outline process on the main character, and then after the outline I'll show you how I shaded them out. So yeah, let's get started. So here are my sketches. This is my first preliminary sketch. I'm going to kind of whip through these sketches because my sketching process is all over the place, and I draw things as I think of them. There's really no rhyme or reason to how I do it. My second sketch, I decided to add a secondary character just to fill some space. Refine some stuff here. In this sketch, decided that leg position needed to be changed because it was hidden behind the sword here, and it just kind of looked a little wonky. So here's the sketch with the position change. I think it looks a lot better. And here I'm refining the shading, more shading, and then this is the final sketch of the main characters. And then we'll switch over to the vertical layout for the skateboard. So this is my first sketch, setting up my composition in the vertical layout. I wanted to draw the characters rowing that little boat into a cave, like they're looking for something. So all these sketches are just the refinements, adding the darks, dropping in the updated characters because I was kind of playing with both sketches at the same time, just so I knew which direction I was heading. So in this sketch, I got it pretty much mapped out. What I'm trying to do, what the complete look. Here I'm experimenting with the water surface and the reflection. It was kind of difficult. And in these layers, I'm erasing I put a dark overlay over top, and I'm erasing the layers. Refined the sketch a lot. We got some rocks in the background here now. Now this one I added a dark layer on multiply, and it just brought out the darks really well. Then I decided I needed to change on the ripple effect, so I wasn't quite happy with it. And then I readjusted it here. And then here's the final sketch. This is what I worked off of for the vector process. So let's get started with that. Okay, now I bring the sketch into CorelDRAW. CorelDRAW is my main program for vector work. I realize it's not industry standard, but I've worked in a lot of screen printing shops over the last 18 years, and it's a lot of screen printing shops use CorelDRAW, and it's the program I know the best. I've been using it since the late 90s, since Corel 3, I think is what it was. The tool I'm using right now is the B-Spline tool, which is it changed my life when I realized that this tool existed. Basically what it does is it will smooth the lines for you automatically, so you don't have to go in and adjust your curves. The trick is, the tighter you make your nodes or your anchor points, the tighter you click together, the smoother the line will be, or the point of your line at the end of the line, you can make them pretty tight if you do a lot of nodes at the end there. And what I'm doing is I'm just building each line as an object, kind of sculpting the lines with the B-spline tool, and I overlay them all so when I go to do a fill, it'll look like a continuous solid line. I don't have any formal Illustrator training as an illustrator. I just, my whole life I've been an artist, and always trying to hone my skills and figure out new techniques. I use a Wacom 21UX Cintiq, which is I mean, I'm sure everybody is aware of what a Cintiq is, but if not, it's a digital tablet that you can draw directly on the monitor, right on the screen. When I've had mine for about 6 years now, and it completely changed my workflow. I don't know what I would do without it now, honestly. I've become too accustomed to it. I don't think my wrist can handle the mouse click anymore. I've been doing this since 1998, and my wrist can feel it for sure. And the Cintiq helps a lot. Right now, my Cintiq sits on the edge of my desk, and my next purchase will be I call it a robot arm, but they make an arm for the Cintiq that I can mount directly on my desk. So that will be my next purchase. And then maybe we'll bring even more consistency to my workflow. So I'm still building my shapes here, going through line by line, treating each line as its own object, sculpting these lines out. I don't try to make everything perfect, because the style of illustration this is more of an organic feel to it. So basically, I think you can see how I do this. So I'm going to speed this up and let you guys see the final result of the outline, and then we'll catch up when we go to shade this guy out. Well, now that the outline is done, I am starting the shading process on the captain here. Technically, I do what is called cell shading. I wasn't really aware of that term until probably about 3 or 4 months ago, when I ran across a meme on Instagram that listed different types of comic book shade or coloring. And the style I do in this I'm doing on this project here is cell shading, which is basically shapes on top of shapes to give it a dimensional look. So right now I'm building just my base tones for all the objects on the main character here. And CorelDRAW operates in layers, so I'm working on a layer under the outline. So now I basically have all my shapes built, and now I am going to start building my lights and darks on each object. Generally, I work with between 3 to 4, sometimes 5 different colors on each object, and basically I'm just building shapes on top of shapes to bring dimension out in the character. For instance, on these gloves, I am using about 4 colors between the base, 2 different highlights, and 2 different shadows. This one is a lot easier building my shapes for the shading because I put a lot of time into the sketch. I made sure this time I put a lot of time into the sketch so I knew where everything was going, because I knew this would be a complicated project. And a lot of times I'll just, do a quick sketch and I have a little bit of highlights and lowlights, and then I'll make it up as I go in CorelDRAW. Well, this time I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to know where everything was going because it's one of my most complicated pieces I've done to date. In my opinion, it took a long time. I think I spent almost the whole month of March 2017 working on this, between making changes and trying to figure stuff out. A couple times I caught myself staring at this thing for an hour, just trying to figure out what I want to do. I think you guys get the general idea of what I'm doing here. Now I'm gonna let you watch the rest of this shading process, and then we will meet up back here at the end, and we'll do a couple close-up views of the finished product, and then we'll be done. And here is the final vector illustration. It is quite a large file, It's about 25 inches tall, and it's quite a few layers. Quite a bit changed during the process. I got some tips from some good buddies, good art buddies in different groups, and some of my local friends. My buddy Adam Tyler out of Black Relic Tattoo, Chris Shannon, aka the Rabbi. James Dimmick helped me out a lot on this one. He also works at Black Relic. And I hope you guys learned some stuff. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave comments or hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.